Number 8, eating rotten meat on purpose. Imagine opening your fridge, sniffing something funky, and deciding, yeah, let's eat that. That's basically how ancient people operated, except they didn't have fridges, expiration dates, or the luxury of tossing things just because they smelled like regret. In places like prehistoric Arctic regions, people fermented meat underground for months. Sometimes it was walrus, sometimes it was fish, and sometimes it was whatever didn't kill them last time. These fermentation pits weren't temperature-controlled artisanal cellars either. They were literal holes in the ground, sealed with rocks and faith. What you'd get at the end of the process was a gooey, ammonia-scented horror known as high meat. Basically, it's meat so decomposed it practically eats itself. And yes, people intentionally ate this for the buzz. Not flavor, the buzz. Because rotting meat can produce chemical byproducts that affect your nervous system, kind of like the world's worst edible. So why didn't everyone immediately die of food poisoning? Partly because their guts were tougher than yours. No offense. Ancient digestive systems were microbial war zones, armed to the teeth with bacteria that could take down a modern probiotic with one belch. Basically, their survival tactic was, if it doesn't instantly kill us, it's dinner. Number 7. Walking barefoot on literal hell. Let's talk about the ground, specifically how ancient people used to walk on it, barefoot across lava-hot deserts, ice-cold tundra, jagged volcanic rock, and actual cursed Lego terrain. Modern humans put socks on to walk across hardwood floors, but your ancestors were out here like, let me hike 20 miles over sharpened misery with no shoes and a baby. Here's the deal. Barefooting builds foot armor. Not like a shoe, but actual skin calluses, stronger foot muscles, and even changes in posture that reduce injury. Anthropologists have found that ancient people's foot bones showed fewer signs of joint degeneration than ours, even though they did way more walking. Meanwhile, you wear foam-padded sneakers with arch support and still pull a hamstring walking upstairs. Some tribes in Kenya and Mexico still run ultramarathons barefoot or in thin sandals, and they don't get shin splints, plantar fasciitis, or that weird, I need to sit down forever feeling. Why? Because their bodies actually adapted to their environment, instead of outsourcing everything to memory foam and orthopedic inserts. In short, their survival strategy was, just walk everywhere, forever, with your foot acting like it's made of titanium and regret. Number 6, drinking water. You wouldn't wash your feet. Picture this, a mud puddle. It's got floaty things. It's questionable. It smells like dead leaves and unwashed horses. Now imagine dipping your face into that and drinking like it's the fountain of youth. That's what ancient people did. Because, spoiler alert, they didn't have filters, chlorine, or cute water bottles with time markers. Water sources were just there, and people were thirsty, so they drank it. From rivers, ponds, animal tracks, and sometimes places that looked like they were created by bacteria just to end lives. So, how did they not die every time they hydrated? They probably did, at first. But over time, their immune systems are upgraded. Some studies suggest that populations with a history of dirty water developed stronger resistance to intestinal parasites and waterborne pathogens. Their guts had bacteria that basically ate other bacteria. It was like stomach hunger games in there. Also, they often boiled or fermented their drinks. Not always because they knew the science, but because it tasted better and didn't make them immediately poop out their entire skeleton. So next time you're annoyed because your filtered water tastes a little plasticky, remember your ancestors were out here drinking swamp soup and just hoping for the best. Number 5, how ancient people survived diseases that should have wiped them out. You'd think early humans were doomed. No antibiotics, no vaccines, no idea what germs were, just dirt, desperation, and maybe a god or two to yell at. But somehow they made it. Not all of them, but enough to keep the species alive. And it wasn't just luck, it was evolution. Their guts were biological war zones, packed with bacteria strong enough to wipe out pathogens before they took hold. That murky water they drank, swarming with parasites, but their stomachs could handle it. Yours probably couldn't. When they got sick, nature was their medicine cabinet. Willow bark for pain, moldy bread for wounds, strange herbs and animal bile handed down through bloody trial and error. They didn't know how it worked, only that sometimes it did. And when disease spread, some groups responded with brutal efficiency. Entire homes sealed off, villages burned. Quarantine wasn't a suggestion, it was a survival tactic. Some of those ancient plagues even left marks in our DNA, like CCR5-Delta 32, a mutation that may have helped people survive the Black Death, and now helps some resist HIV. So no, survival wasn't guaranteed. But the ones who did survive, they left you their scars, their instincts, and the blood of 1,000 generations that refused to die. Number 4, childbirth in a field, then back to work. Imagine giving birth in a field. No hospital, no epidural, no ice chips, just you, some dirt, and probably a goat watching judgmentally. In ancient times, this wasn't a worst-case scenario. It was standard procedure. Women gave birth squatting, standing, or kneeling because lying on your back wasn't even a thing until doctors got weird with it in the 1600s. And get this, they often went back to work within hours or days because survival didn't come with paid maternity leave. The thing is, their bodies were built differently, not genetically but functionally. Years of walking, squatting, carrying things, and basically not sitting all day created stronger pelvic floors and better muscle tone. Basically, they were doing prenatal yoga by accident every day. Also, childbirth was a community event. Midwives, herbal brews, birthing stones, massage, and screaming at the moon were all part of the toolkit. And somehow the species survived. So yeah, you might freak out when your phone battery dies during labor. But ancient people were over here giving birth in a hut made of sticks, cutting the cord with a rock, and heading off to forage before the baby even cried. Number 3, how ancient people slept and why modern sleep might be totally wrong. You've probably been taught that good sleep means 8 uninterrupted hours in a pitch-black room. No tossing, no turning, no waking up in the middle of the night. That's what healthy looks like, right? But for most of human history, that kind of sleep didn't exist. In fact, it might be completely unnatural. Ancient people didn't sleep in one long block. They had what scientists call segmented sleep. First sleep and second sleep. They'd go to bed shortly after sunset, sleep for a few hours, then wake up around midnight. But they didn't panic when they woke up. They got up, lit candles, talked, prayed, had sex, told stories, sat in silence. Then after about an hour or two, they'd crawl back into bed and sleep again until dawn. This wasn't insomnia. It was the normal rhythm of life, especially before artificial light flattened everything into a 9-to-5 box. And here's what's really strange. Your brain still remembers that rhythm. That's why you sometimes wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. for no reason. Your body isn't broken. It's just following a sleep pattern that was once completely normal. Even hunter-gatherer tribes today, people who live without electricity, often sleep in flexible, broken-up chunks. Some nap during the heat of the day, some wake at night to stoke fires or guard the group. It's not inefficient, it's strategic. Someone is always alert. Someone always has eyes on the dark. Number 2, why your brain creates nightmares and what they're actually training you. For you wake up sweating, heart racing. Another nightmare, another near-death experience crafted entirely by your brain. But what if that terrifying dream was never meant to torment you? What if it was built to save you? Nightmares aren't random. According to the threat simulation theory, they're mental rehearsals, evolution's way of running you through worst-case scenarios before they happen. Being chased, drowning, falling, losing someone. These aren't just spooky dream tropes. They're primal fears hardwired into the human brain. When you dream of danger, your brain activates the same regions it would during a real threat. The amygdala fires, muscles tense. Your body prepares to move, even as you lie frozen in bed. And studies suggest that people who regularly have nightmares are often more alert and responsive in real-life emergencies. So next time your mind drops you into a collapsing bridge or a dark hallway full of eyes, don't ask, why is this happening? Ask, what is my brain preparing me for? Number 1, why you sometimes see faces in the dark. Even when nothing's there, it's late. You glance at the corner of the room, And something's there. Two dark shapes, eyes watching. You blink. It doesn't move. You turn on the light. Nothing. But your heart doesn't believe it. This isn't just imagination. It's something called pareidolia, a glitch in your brain's face detection system. Your mind is wired to find faces everywhere, in clouds, in shadows, on toast. Even newborns can spot eyes before they understand language. That instinct kept your ancestors alive. Spotting a face in the dark could mean survival or death. So your brain learned to overreact. It would rather see a face that isn't there than miss one that is. And in darkness, when visual info is low, your brain starts filling in the blanks. A coat rack becomes a person. Two dots of light become eyes. Your mind doesn't want to scare you. It wants to protect you. Because once, in the deep wild, something really was watching. So next time you see a face in the shadows, don't panic. It's just ancient survival code, still running. The monsters aren't real anymore. But your brain never got the memo.